Hello, welcome to week 11 for our 12 weeks of Christmas series. Haven't the weeks just flown by? This one is a great way to use some scrap Christmas paper you have. And I know if you're like me, you have a bit lying around. I'm going to show you how to make these paper folded trees. They are so cool and so easy to make. I'm going to show you some different sizes too. And as I've done each week, the written tutorial will be out in next week's newsletter. But let's get started. What you're going to need, you can of course finish the card however you like, but I've got a base card which is 14.8 centimeters by 21 centimeters, and score it at 10.5. In inches, it's 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches. Score it at 4.25. That is your standard card base. We have a card mat that's 14.4 centimeters by 10.1 centimeters, or 5 3/8 of an inch by 4 1/8 of an inch. Now you'll need some pretty pieces of Christmas paper. It'll be good to have paper that has small pattern over it. You don't want anything too big, it's just going to get lost in the trees. I'll give you the measurements for those in a moment as I show you how to fold the trees. And I also have some white card, and I've added some sparkle with the red glimmer paper. So depending on how you want to finish your card, I've cut the white card. That's going to be cut with the largest square from the Stylish Shapes dies. Of course, make that any shape you like. Let's just emboss the card. I like embossing the card matte. It just adds that extra texture to your card. Of course, you don't have to do that. I'm using I think it's called the Distressed Brick embossing folder. Just add that to your folder inside and emboss that on your die cut emboss machine. While I'm at it, I'm also going to die cut our square. So I will head off and do that. We have our square, and we've got our embossed card. Look at the texture, it's so lovely. So we can add that piece to the front of our card base. We'll just do that, and then we'll get onto those trees. So we'll put our card base aside. Now we're going to get our paper. So now we have our pieces of paper we're going to use to make the folded trees. And as I mentioned, just keep the pattern small. It doesn't matter what size really. The principle is the same as how you're going to make them. Just make sure that they are square. But for these particular trees, I've made them 7 centimeters by 7 centimeters, or 2 3/4 of an inch square. And this one is 6 centimeters, or 2 3/8 of an inch. So we'll get our first piece. Now you could score it, but I'm actually going to just draw a line that will give you an area, a guide as to where to fold it. So we'll just run a light pencil line down there. And I'm going to do the same with this piece while I'm at it. So grab this square. Now lightly, that pencil line is there. So what you want to do is fold this corner across. I put my finger up the top there at that point, so that keeps that in a position. And fold this corner in so the edge of that piece lines up with that pencil line there. So just press that down. You're going to take the other corner in. Once again, I'm holding it up here Hopefully you can see that I haven't got my fingers in the way there. Fold that in. We just have a look. You can always make that little point there if it's not quite sitting right. Now for this edge, we're going to fold that up. So it folds up along that bottom edge. And press that down. Now we'll grab this other piece. Once again, holding your finger up there, fold that into the pencil line. Take the other corner in. And fold up so that close to joins and it's near the bottom edge. I just have a look at that point, just checking that that point goes well, and fold up. So you have two triangles. It's very cute. So we can just add a little glue. You just need a little glue on this panel. That's certainly a lot of glue. Let's add some of that over this side. Otherwise it just oozes out everywhere. Fold that up. So you only need a piece on that folded piece, the bottom part there, because that will hold that in place all right. And we'll stick that down. Now you can add the trees just like that as triangles, or you can add little bases, and I'm going to show you how to do that too. We've got some other paper, just little squares of paper. This size is 3 centimeters by 3 centimeters, or 1 1/4 inch by 1 1/4 inch. So they're square pieces, and you're going to do exactly the same for this style. So we'll grab a pencil, add a diagonal. Now there's another version of pot base you could do too, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. We'll just do a light score line there. The same on this one. So once again, we're going to fold that in to our pencil line. So you can score that if you don't want to put a pencil line on it. But you do see that score line on the front of your tree. So I think having a pencil line just makes it so it's not visible to you. Fold that bottom up. Do the same with this one. We can get rid of that. Fold that in. Fold that in there. And we're going to fold that up there. Now with the base, so it's just the same, and they're cute tiny little trees. You can make ones this size. What we're going to do is just fold this point up so it flattens the bottom edge. So once again with this one, just fold that up. So you have little pot shapes. So we'll add the glue onto that one as well. I'm going to add a little dab of glue here and both sides just to make sure it sits down. So you can hold that in. We'll add our glue to here. As your squares get smaller, they are a little more fiddlier. So just keep that in mind too with what you're working in. So I think this being 3 centimeters, that's probably about the smallest you'd want to go. Now an alternative base is just to have a strip of paper. So this is 3 centimeters by 2 centimeters, or 1¼ inch by 3/4 of an inch. And what you could do is just fold in each side so it becomes a base like that. So we could put the tree and have that sitting there like that. So you could have a straight like a pole, or you could make it as a pot. You could want to do different ones. So we're going to glue, I'm going to stick with the pot shape for now. Just add our pot. So just have that so it just has a little part peeking from the bottom. So you have your pot. And the same across here. There you go. So if we bring our card back in, we'll quickly finish that and put together some way. Now, when you're sticking your white card onto your glimmer paper, it's very hard. You don't want to be using your multi-purpose glue. It's not going to stick very well. So just using your seal, we're going to add some seal across the card, and we can stick that down. The thing with seal is there's no ability to move too much, so just make sure to line it up first before you stick that down. That can go down with dimensionals, so we'll just grab some of those. And we will add dimensionals to the back of our trees as well. I'm just going to use some larger ones down the bottom. Need some more large ones. I'll add a small one to the top. It only needs small. You can position those however you'd like. So I just like to offset it. I like how it overhangs the square. So we'll just, might move that down just slightly. Put our other one on here. And of course, finish it off with some nice stars. I've die cut those from the Merriest Trees dies, but you might have different star die or punch. Just nice to add a little star on the top. Now I'll add a greeting later, but I'll bring the finished card in and show you. I've just added the sentiment. This is from the Reindeer Fun stamp set. It's good to have a nice long one. It sort of balances it out with a bow with the red and white twine. So there's your paper trees. You could add them to a tag. Oh, now I'll just show you. I made a different one earlier. This one is actually slightly larger. This one was actually 8 centimeters paper, or 3 1/8 of an inch square. I just found it was just a little too large for it, but depending on how you're going to finish the card. But there can be any size how you want it. So what do you think? Are you going to give it a try? It's so fun. Great way to use your papers. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to share it with a friend. I'm sure someone might like to know how to use their scrap papers. And stay tuned for our last week of 12 weeks of Christmas next week. I hope you can join me then. So for now, happy crafting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.